Welcome to the Tech Talks Daily Podcast, where you can learn and be inspired by real-world examples of how technology is transforming businesses and reshaping industries in a language everyone can understand. Here is your host, Neil C. Hughes.
Welcome back to the Tech Talks Daily Podcast, where every day we take a complex area of technology and put it in a language that anyone can understand. And for example, if I say crypto or blockchain, I'm quite conscious it will probably divide you all. I know many of you are incredibly passionate about this space, and others are a little intimidated by the crypto bros and don't feel confident talking about it, especially when many in the community are focused on cheering on their favourite coins like they're their favourite sports team. But I think one thing that we can all agree on, no matter where you're positioned on this, is that the success of any new technology, regardless of how good it is, will be determined by the adoption. And some would problem that adoption is the biggest hurdle in blockchain and crypto right now. So today I want to tackle that topic by inviting Nick Saponaro, the CEO of the Divi Project, onto the podcast to talk about how they're solving this exact problem by increasing the adoption of digital currency. And if the name sounds familiar, you may have noticed that they are the sponsors of LaLiga. And their most well-known project is the Divi Wallet, which enables instant crypto payments for everyone. And since beginning in the crypto space way back in 2013, Nick has become one of the leading experts in the cryptocurrency and blockchain space, with media appearances everywhere from Nasdaq, Fintech Times and Quartz and so many others. So he seems like our go-to guy. So with all that in mind, buckle up and hold on tight as I beam your ears all the way to Dubai, where you can join me and Nick in conversation. So a massive warm welcome to the show. Can you tell the listeners a little about who you are and what you do?
Absolutely. First of all, thanks for having me on, Neil. It's a pleasure to be here. My name is Nick Saponaro. I am the CEO and co-founder of the Divi Project and the CEO of Divi Labs, which is an entity that aims to create software that makes cryptocurrency and finance more consolidated, accessible, and easy to use for everyone, everywhere. We started back in 2017. However, I started my crypto journey in 2013, building mining rigs for people. And then in 2015, really got deep into investing in the space, and then later became a developer for Divi, and eventually, through many years of progress, became the CEO.
And I'm curious, if I take you back, way back before the 2017 craziness in the crypto space, and even further back, before the days of crypto and Bitcoin was even a thing, how did you get here? What's your origin story, and where did your passion for tech come from? Or was there something that lit the spark in you that you can remember?
I mean, I loved tech from a young age, mostly hardware, actually. I didn't get into software until later. My dad always had extra computers around or devices, and he was kind of a gadget guy. So I would often take those things apart and try to learn what was going on internally and put them back together and things like that. And being an only child, you have a lot of time to yourself. You have to entertain yourself a lot. So I was always just trying to learn more about whatever I was interested in at the time, whether it was video games or eventually coding, music, things like that, engineering and whatnot. And in 2013, I had a computer business. We built mostly gaming computers, actually. But somebody started reaching out to me on a pretty regular basis, asking me to build very expensive machines that had like 6 graphics cards in them. And I asked him, what are you doing? Like, what is this? And he says, I mine Bitcoin. And so that was my first introduction to what Bitcoin is. And I did mine a few Bitcoin, although I didn't really understand what it was until later. In 2015, I was introduced to Ethereum. And by that time, I had been freelance web developing for a while. I kind of moved away from actual hardware development into software. And Ethereum made a lot of sense to me. You know, this virtual machine you could build applications on top of, fully decentralized. It kind of delivered the promise of what Bitcoin is, you know, this decentralized financial ecosystem. And I was hooked. Absolutely.
And it's kind of ironic here, isn't it, in the present day, that gamers can't get their hands on high-end graphics cards anymore because crypto miners, I've got them before anyone can get anywhere near them, right?
That's right. And it's not even the most efficient way to mine anymore. You need specialized hardware if you really want to compete, at least if you're mining Bitcoin.
Absolutely. And of course, the success of any new technology, regardless of how good it is, will be determined by adoption. So can you tell me a little bit more about the story behind the Divi project and how you set out to increase the adoption of digital currency? Because I think that is the big talking point at the minute, and it's something that you've gone straight after.
Yeah, it's funny because when we first started Divi and we had this philosophy of building a user experience driven ecosystem that anybody could use, like even your grandmother or a child even, people were like, that's not what people are into. This is a tech industry driven by tech people. And I said, look at the big companies in technology, even outside of technology, in EV or any real industrial enterprise. The companies that absolutely become the bellwether signals of progress are the ones that take the technology and make it usable for the everyday user. So we wanted to build things with that philosophy in mind. And so in 2018, we deployed what we call Mochi, which is actually now a patent pending solution that allows you to set up a node that contributes to the blockchain's network at the click of a button. And that kind of became really popular. This actual usable interface that I can now earn cryptocurrency with, versus the other opportunities, which required you to learn, all sorts of programming languages and have some sysadministration knowledge and servers and things like this. Now I can just press one button, and as long as I have enough coins in my wallet, I'm earning crypto. That became sort of our claim to fame for a while. And we've taken that philosophy and tried to apply it to as many things within not just crypto, but all of the very fragmented financial ecosystems that we can.
And the most well-known project is the Divi Wallet. And I'm conscious we will have people listening that are outside of the crypto community and hearing about you for the first time. So can you tell me a little bit more about that and how it is enabling these instant crypto payments, but for everyone?
Absolutely. The Divi Wallet is, yes, you're right. It's our flagship product. It's not the only thing we've built. It's not the only thing we will build, but it is the sort of the crux or the engine of our ecosystem. And it really aims to do what I'm talking about, which is consolidate the value chain of finance. So we started with our IP, right? The things that made us who we are. So you could set up a node right in your wallet. It's fully decentralized. Everything is 100% self-custodial. We added a few more coins. You have a Bitcoin and Litecoin and Ethereum, things that you might want to hold. But the thing that makes it different, I guess, is the fact that when you onboard into the wallet, you're not bombarded with jargon. You're not feeling frustrated by new things or new behaviors that you now have to learn. It feels familiar to what you've already done in the past. If you've ever set up a Facebook account or even a PayPal or whatever, you are in a place that you feel familiar with. And we're taking that even further by implementing actual usernames and avatars, and you can send to someone's phone number or their email address. Things that you just expect in a normal financial ecosystem are now in a crypto ecosystem. And we'll expand even further upon that by adding a fiat on-ramp later this month, so you can actually purchase crypto or sell it with a credit card, swap 270 different coins, as well as a few other features that are incoming in this new update. Because of this philosophy and the implementation of the philosophy, we were approached by one of the biggest football organizations on earth, LaLiga, and we became their official regional crypto wallet last year.
Wow, that's incredibly cool. Especially with Real Madrid in the Champions League final.
Did you watch that match?
Oh, man. Well, I'll tell you something. That I tuned out towards the end because I thought, oh, well, Man City have got this. But then we all know what
right at the end there. It was like it was almost the 90-minute mark. Two goals right there. Insane. And then that Benzema penalty kick just tied it for him. It was amazing. It was amazing.
That's what the game's all about. And of course, that is a huge partnership. So how does that work? Can you share any details around that client story?
Absolutely. The ultimate ending was actually really insane to me. Divi is a relatively, I would say, mid-tier project. It's not huge. We haven't reached that pinnacle of reach yet. And so when we were approached by La Liga at a conference in Dubai in October, I was interested, I was intrigued, and we went to breakfast with their partnership director here in the region. And it was a great meeting, but I left that meeting truly believing there was no chance we were ever going to close this partnership because, I had to imagine our biggest competitors were competing against us, your crypto.coms, your Coinbase, FTX, the big ones, even Binance, right? And somehow, and mostly driven by the fact that our philosophies align in many ways with La Liga, we ended up with the regional partnership in 48 countries. Of course, expanding our reach exponentially, opening a ton of new doors for us, but also validating what we do in a way that, yourself as a football fan, nothing makes you feel the way football does when you're watching and you see a good match. Sharing that affinity with the fans as a technology company is something that is very, very difficult to do. And so this has been a real milestone for us.
Yeah, 100% with you on that. Although it's been a while since I've seen a good game because I'm a Derby County fan and it's been a bad season for us.
I'm sorry about that.
That's another podcast for another day. But there's enough fear, uncertainty and doubt on there, and I don't want to add to that. But I'd love to know more about your perspective on risk, especially given the stock market's current untethering from reality and historical crashes that followed periods like the one we're living now. What's your take and perspective on that, on where we are now?
The macro environment is, I wouldn't even say it's unprecedented because if you've been watching for long enough, you've seen the writing on the wall. The governments of the world have been printing innumerable amounts of money. They've been handling the pandemic in one way or another. I'm not here to, give an opinion on that. I'm not a politician, but one way or another, we ended up in a position where hyperinflation has sort of begun. Globally, we've mismanaged the economy in a number of ways, especially in the United States. But these things were happening probably even before the pandemic. We saw the bond yield curve invert far before the pandemic even began. So, we are going to now, of course, we're also experiencing the Ukraine war and several other impacts on the economy. What happens here is, of course, we've already seen the Nasdaq fall something like 20%. That could go further. And it seems like Bitcoin is tracking that asset class to an extent. I think what happens here is people will risk off, interest rates will go up, and the same thing that happens in every recession will happen. Those with assets will dominate and retail will unfortunately get hosed. However, if you have a long-term vision of your investment portfolio and your perspective on life is longer than the next 4 years or 5 years, I think there's a lot of opportunities. Bitcoin may dip even further. We may see a lot of assets go down, and that's actually an opportunity if you're sitting on some cash. So I'd say to people, just prepare yourself.
Yeah, it's such a difficult place at the moment. And like you said, hyperinflation. We've also got low interest rates across the board. And I saw an advert the other day for one of the highest interest rate accounts on people's savings. It said, if you put 3,600 in there, I think you got £64 interest over the year, which is just insane. So it's no surprise that people are turning not just to crypto. I've heard stories of people investing in wine, sneakers, and so much more. It feels, I don't know, the alternative investments are really coming to fruition now. But how important is crypto to the universal investment narrative, would you say?
Well, I think especially for people in my generation, I'm a millennial, and you have, of course, the next generation coming up now. I think crypto is probably one of the most, to us, it's our tech boom, it's our real estate boom, it's whatever. It's our opportunity to create generational wealth and passive income for ourselves. So you have these opportunities, like Divi, even where you can allocate a portion of your portfolio and earn yield, right? So you have a lot of yield bearing accounts now, higher interest than you would see for a bank, for example, that allow you to, at least, even if it's fiat or even if it's USDT or USDC, to earn a higher yield and at least combat inflation to some extent. I think for us, for my generation, it's paramount to the success of yourself and the generations that follow you.
And one of the big fears, I suppose, is everyone's been bought into the decentralized dream, and governments, banks, etc., are now creating coins or talking about creating coins and even building centralized solutions, which is absolutely the opposite of everything that everyone's been hoping was going to be coming. But how do you see the future of crypto, and what are the main goals of decentralization, would you say?
I think there will be proponents of decentralization, me being one of them. And I think there will be services that offer you a truly decentralized or at least self-custodial way of managing your money. However, I don't think that necessarily everyone is equipped to manage their money and write their seed phrase down. And maybe you don't want to have $100 million of a investment firm on a software wallet that anyone could lose the key to at any time. I think custodial solutions are important. I'm not against them necessarily, but I think from like a point of self-sovereignty, you want to have at least a majority of your portfolio fully under your control. That said, I am building a hybrid ecosystem, right? Some of the things in our wallet are leverage the centralized world, trust companies, custodians, exchanges, and things like that. But always, our philosophy will be that the crypto that lives in your wallet is owned by you, and you only have the keys, no one else.
And I'm conscious we've done a bit of an overview today for people that are new to the Divi project and finding out more about what you're doing. But we will also have loyal members of your community that are tuning in just to find out any hint of a teaser or anything on the horizon. So I appreciate you probably can't share too much. You're locked down to 1,001 NDAs. But are there any teasers on what else your community can expect in the future?
Well, I can say, you're right. There are a lot of documents prohibiting me from saying too much. What I can say is that what we've done, with LaLiga is only the beginning. I can say that the UAE, where I'm currently residing, is just beginning its journey into the crypto world, and I think it will become the absolute centerpiece of the future of cryptocurrency, the hub, if you will, and we will be a big part of that.
Oh, intriguing. I love it. And I love chatting with you today. But before I let you go, I always like to end the podcast with a little bit of fun with my guests. I'm going to ask you, is there, a book that has inspired you in your career, or just a song that helps you get your head in the zone, or that's important to you? And we'll add a song to a Spotify playlist or the book to an Amazon wish list. All I ask is what you're going to leave us with today. And is there a story to accompany that choice?
Oh man, there are so many. And it depends on your mood almost. I guess from a literary perspective, and this is going to be the most boring choice for anybody listening, but when I read Mastering Bitcoin by Andreas Antonopoulos, which is essentially a textbook, and I don't know if everyone will enjoy reading it. It's not exactly a narrative tale, but it really will open your eyes to what Bitcoin can do, what this technology is capable of, and how it actually works. And I feel like if you're investing in something, it's important, tantamount to your success, really, to understand exactly what it is and how it works. And you'll feel a lot more confident and have more conviction in what you're doing. If you want something more narrative, you should definitely pick up Laura Shin's new book, The Cryptopians. It was eye-opening as far as like how Ethereum was developed and how it came to be. Shocking even that it even exists now after reading it, but it's a newer book, and it actually did make me realize some things about my own business and how we came to be, and maybe how we'll grow as a company in the future. So those are two books, but definitely both good reads.
Awesome. Well, I'll add those to our Amazon wish list. I will be honest, it's not as exciting as the moment that a guest introduced me to pirate metal a few months ago, but it's up there, let me tell you.
Sorry about that. I'm not that insane, I guess.
But for anyone listening that just wants to find out more about the Divi project, maybe join your community or ask a few questions and find out more information, what's the best starting point for everything?
Come join us on social media. It's just at Divi Project across pretty much everything. And download the wallet, just diviwallet.com, and get in there and start staking some Divi. And obviously reach out to us on any of our communities if you have questions. We're 24/7. We'll even get you a concierge service if you need bespoke help.
Awesome. And one of the things that I've loved about chatting with you today is I've had a lot of blockchain and crypto guests from a lot of the big companies on here, but it's the problem that you're solving here. And for me, it's the number one problem in the entire industry, increasing adoption of digital currency. So I wish you the best of luck for the future. There's always space for you to come back on here and update us if you've got any big announcements in the future. The only question I've got to ask before I let you go is, who are you going to be cheering for in the Champions League final, I wonder?
Hala Madrid.
Brilliant.
That's right.
Thanks so much for joining me today. I appreciate it.
Thanks a lot, Neil.
A huge thank you to Nick for coming on the podcast today and talking about the future of crypto and the goals of decentralization, how we can increase adoption, and the importance of crypto's investment narrative right now. But of course, everything we've talked about today, from hyperinflation, low interest rates, alternative investments, these are areas that will affect each and every person listening, wherever they are in the world. And you've heard from me today, and obviously you've heard from Nick, but now I want to turn the microphone over to you. I want to get your insights, experiences, thoughts, predictions, or any questions that spring to mind. Feel free to send them my way. You can email me, techblogwriter@outlook.com, slide into the old DMs on Twitter, Instagram, and LinkedIn at Neil C. Hughes. And my website is techblogwriter.co.uk. So today's episode focused on blockchain and crypto and increasing adoption. Tomorrow we're going to tackle a completely different topic. That's what we do here every day, and hopefully you'll join me. So a big thank you for listening, and until next time, don't be a stranger.
Thank you for listening to the Tech Talks Daily Podcast with Neil C. Hughes. Remember, technology works best when it brings people together.